Maharaj is not.
Dear devotees, I'm not sure about the Bhagavatam class. We are waiting to hear the latest. And oh, our audio man have got the audio.
This
all.
is if he's going to play music.
So, Kalyadam Prabhu is here. We'll situate him on the throne and he can read the verse. If you all can please help with some discussion. And it seems like for some reason, don't. Janeshwari is suggesting Tarika Prabhu, please give the class. I have to finish dressing Radha Damodar and the gopis, so otherwise I would gladly do the needful. Excited. Janeshwari is also suggesting Yashadev Prabhu. Any other suggestions? She suggests that you miss the class, but these are all suggestions. We apologize. Anyone else has any suggestions? No suggestions. Kalyadam will take it away.
Well, let's get started.
Yeah, just start reading.
Maybe Maharaj will show up.
Yashoda, would you be willing to give class? If you can hear me.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Oh, let me turn my volume off.
Would someone like to volunteer to chant Jai Radha Madhava and perhaps read today's verse? I am not in a position to volunteer today. I'm in the midst of a painful cardiac event. Hare Krishna.
is not muted on my end. Maharaj has not made his appearance yet. Tarka Prabhuji, would you like to take us on a Bhagavatam journey?
Jaya Damana Prabhu, I am in the midst of a painful cardiac event. I am in no condition to do the reading this morning.
Okay, that's understandable. Can we assist you with anything on that? Okay.
You can
So,
assist me by vibrating some Krishna Katha. That would be great.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
It's just his audio.
Yashodev Prabhu also is online. Would you like to fill in for your class from a few days ago?
Are we not waiting for Bhakti Marg Swami? I thought that was the deal. No?
Yeah, he was here earlier on, but I
He's
didn't
not,
speak to him.
he
He
has not walked into the building.
Oh,
He
He was
here
here up until about 5 minutes to 7, maybe 10 minutes to 7.
So
So
we're
we're
not
not
clear
clear
what's happening.
So
So
let's assume
he's
he's not going to come.
okay. If you could, I guess I could do, if you just give me a couple of minutes to
We'll
put my makeup on.
We'll give you 30 seconds to put your makeup on.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
I do now, but I'll turn it on. So it is chapter.
And it's chapter, excuse me, it's text 9, just in case.
Hare Krishna, I suppose, just to satisfy Vyasadeva, we'll do Bhagavatam class. Although I'd much rather hear from His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to keep the fire burning. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10, text number 9, is it?
It is text 9.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 10, text number 9, which says, Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhyeva pundarikaksha Bhagavattvaya kalpate. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhyeva pundarikaksha Bhagavattvaya kalpate. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhyeva pundarikaksha Bhagavattvaya kalpate. Anybody else want to chant? No? Word for word, try. Oh, go ahead, Taraka.
Vimuchati yada kaman manavo manasi stetan tarheva pundarikaksha bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Thank you, Prabhu. Word for word translation says, Vimunchati gives up, yada, whenever, kaman, all material desires. Manava, human society. Manasi, within the mind. Stitan, situated. Tarhi, at that time only. Eva, indeed. Pundarika aksha, O lotus-eyed Lord. Bhagavattvaya, to be equally as opulent as the Lord. Kalpate, becomes eligible. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. There you go. Purport. Atheistic men sometimes criticize a devotee by saying, if you do not want to take any benediction from the Lord, and if the servant of the Lord is as opulent as the Lord himself, why do you ask for the benediction of being engaged as the Lord's servant? Sridhar Swami comments, Bhagavattvaya Bhagavat Saman Aishvaryaya. Bhagavatva, becoming as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not mean becoming one with Him or equal to Him, although in the spiritual world, the servant is equally as opulent as the master. The servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover, all of whom are equally as opulent as the Lord. This is Achintya Bedha Bheda Tattva. The master and servant are different, yet equal in opulence. This is the meaning of simultaneous difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with Him. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavana Sujta Devi Paramami Hari Priye Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, "O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours." So, there you go, dear devotees, the secret for becoming very, very wealthy, since it is a concern for some of us. All you have to do, very easy. It's not about being a clever investor or being the first in some industry, some new up-and-coming industry. All you have to do is give up all the material desires in your mind. And then, according to Prahlad Maharaj, you become eligible to possess wealth and opulence like the Lord's. Of course, having given up all material desires, one doesn't really want wealth and opulence. But the Lord gives opulence equal to his own to his devotees. Why? To glorify his devotees, just as they glorify him, because the Lord is a person. He reciprocates. So despite Prahlad Maharaj's prayer, his very famous prayer that we heard just a couple of verses ago, where he says, Yadi dasyasi me kamans varams tam varadarasham kamanam hridya samroham bhavatastu vranevaram. Prahlad Maharaj says, "My Lord, you are the best of the givers of desirable benedictions, and if you at all want to bestow a desirable benediction upon me, then I pray that from within the core of my heart there are no more desires." Despite Prahlad praying like this, what does Lord Nrsimhadev do? Gives him opulence, gives him sovereignty over the demigods in heaven, and via his extended family, actually, practically over the whole universe. So this is how the Lord likes to do things. But the qualification is being described by Prahlad here. First, you just have to give up all material desires. Easy. And then you become eligible to possess wealth and opulence like the Lord. So this is Krishna's prerogative. He actually wants to share his opulences with others, which is not something we meditate on often. Of course, we meditate on the Lord as being full of 6 opulences, which are all strength, all fame, all renunciation, all beauty, all knowledge, and all wealth. But there are many instances where he gives those opulences to his devotees. Like in the case of who was it that came to the door wanting to fight with Krishna, but then he wrestled Bhima. Oh no, that's right. Krishna and Arjuna and Bhima, they went to go and fight against Jarasandha, dressed up as brahmanas. Just having fun, I guess. Of course, as they approached the front door of Jarasandha, they didn't look much like brahmanas, having massive muscles and the marks of bowstrings upon their forearms. Jarasandha considered, this is not a very good costume. But Jarasandha refused to fight with Krishna owing to some excuses that he made, saying, Krishna, you ran away from the battle so many times, so I won't fight with you. And Jarasandha refused to fight with Arjuna, saying that Arjuna is younger and weaker than him. This is how Kshatriyas operate. They have some honor, some dignity. They want to have an equal match. So Jarasandha said, I will fight with you, Bhima. But actually, Krishna arranged this so that Bhima could be glorified as one who is so powerful that he defeated Jarasandha. So he wanted to share his opulences with his devotee, Bhima. Isn't that remarkable? Krishna ran away from Jarasandha because he had something better to do. Actually, what he had better to do was to receive a love letter from Rukmini. That was his priority. He said, hold on. This takes precedence. But he wanted Bhima to be glorified as the one who's so strong and so powerful that he defeated Jarasandha. So actually he invested his opulence in Bhima so that he could take the credit. Isn't that cool? Similarly, he shares his opulence of beauty with, what's his name? It's actually Krishna's son in one of the palaces in Dwarka. What was the name of that one who was swallowed by the fish and he came back? Oh my gosh. The name is slipping my memory right now. It also started with a P. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Anyway, he shared his opulence of beauty with that son, whose name was... Nobody's going to tell me. I don't know if anyone's listening, but if you remember. So many names to remember in Krishna consciousness. It's a real challenge. And when he returned after an interesting adventure away from the palace, actually all of the residents of Krishna's palace, they thought this person is just as beautiful as Krishna. This person is just as beautiful. Actually, it's a jiva. They're saying this person is just as beautiful as Krishna. They were remarking in this way when this person returned to the palace. And then Krishna explained the whole backstory. But actually, Krishna invested in this devotee his own opulence of beauty. I just can't remember the name now.
Arjuna?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. No, couldn't hear. That's all right. It'll come to me as soon as the Bhagavatam class ends.
And of course, Prajumna was the son that was swallowed.
Prajumna. It was Prajumna. I knew it started with a P. Thank you. So when Prajumna returned to the palace in Dwarka after a whole adventure, it's a big long story, of course, and all of the residents there, all the maid servants and whatnot, they were all rushing around to see this person is just as beautiful as Krishna. He has the same beauty. They were very attracted to him in that way. And the point of my telling the story is that Krishna invested his opulence of beauty. He shares his gifts. Just as Prahlad Maharaj is saying in this verse, one is eligible to possess wealth and opulence just like the Lord's, but one must give up all material desires in the mind. So Krishna can do this. And it's a remarkable feature of his personality that just like the devotees praise Krishna as the possessor of all opulences, he also wants to use his opulences to glorify the devotees. And so he gives them sovereignty over the universe, power to defeat all sorts of enemies, incredible beauty, wealth. Krishna can bestow those things on the devotees if they're qualified by being free of material desires, desiring only to engage everything in Krishna's service. That's the kicker and the part that we might struggle with, that A devotee must engage everything in Krishna service. First, Krishna says that you must do it, solely because if you don't, you'll be entangled in this material world. Yagyartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything should be given as an offering to Vishnu, because if you don't, karma bandhana, you'll be in bondage. We should give what we have to Krishna. Holding on to it is actually the cause of our suffering. If you got $5 in your hand, you'd be better. Actually, I used to say this line on book distribution in Australia. This one guy came up to me and said, why should I give you, I can't remember, it was $5 or $10 for this book. Why should you? And then I opened the Bhagavad Gita and I said, well, look what Krishna is saying here. Yagyartat karmano nyatra. That actually, this $5, this is going to be more bondage for you. This will cause more suffering for you. Karma bandhana. You'll be in anxiety about how you're going to spend it, how you're going to get the real value out of it, or if you're being cheated in some way. Better you give it to Krishna, and then you'll be free from that anxiety. This guy, it wasn't an Indian guy, he was some Australian guy, but we just read straight out of the text. And he was convinced, and he took the book. So, so Krishna is first saying, you must give whatever you have. Otherwise you'll be in bondage. But at the level of devotion, actually the Lord wants the devotees to be glorified by his own opulences as well, which is really remarkable. It's the symptom of his personhood. So that's why Prabhupada's saying in this purport, it's a chintya bheda bheda tattva, inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. That even though the devotee is engaged as the servant, still they can possess opulence equal to the Lord, but they never think themselves equal to the Lord. They think themselves the servant of the Lord. One might have opulence equal to the Lord. Which is why in Vrindavan we're glorifying the Lord's devotees. We're worshipping them, honoring them at all times. In fact, in many places, many temples in Vrindavan, they're praying too, actually worshipping Nanda and Yashoda, the gopi servants of Krishna, Krishna's cowherd friends. So they enjoy opulence equal to the Lord. And naturally so, because the Lord wants to enjoy an intimate relationship with his devotees. The Aishvarya Bhava, the recognition of opulence, and the Ishvara Bhava, the recognition of supremacy, is a conditional restriction in that relationship. If one is praying, honoring, Lord, you are so powerful, you are almighty, and we're way down here, and we're suffering, and please save us, and all these sort of things, then that imposes a conditional restriction in the relationship, and the Lord wants to have an intimacy in the relationship. He desires the intimate affection which is expressed by the residents of Vrindavan. And so they cannot be thinking that Krishna is so far above us, the Lord is so great, so amazing, is all-powerful, and we are just tiny and insignificant. That kind of ruins Krishna's fun. Not that he doesn't enjoy it in the Vaikuntha planets, but as we understand from our acharyas, that the Lord desires such intimacy and affection, and so therefore there must be equality. Therefore the devotees in Vrindavan, they think themselves equal to Krishna. They think themselves servants of Krishna as well. They do actually express that mood. We are your servant. It's just that that servant's mood is so saturated with Vatsalya rasa or Madhurya rasa that it doesn't look like what we think of as a servant, where you run up to someone, oh, what can I do for you? Just like it was so nice hearing Kaliya Damana saying, what can I do for you, Tarika Prabhu? It's just such a nice attitude. But their servitorship mood is so saturated with these premas, with this type of love, that it doesn't look like, to us, at least in our superficial sense, it doesn't look like some butler who runs around and says, Krishna, let me offer you this thing or that thing. Instead, their servitor mood looks like Yashoda with a stick. Krishna, eat your lunch. You've been up to no good. Actually, they still have the mood of servitorship. This is expressed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But it's so enriched with these premas that to us it might not look like they're feeling servitorship. And that's why it's very important for us to hear from the Acharyas and from Srila Prabhupada to not covet or misunderstand what's going on in Vrindavan, especially between Krishna and the gopis. It'd be easy for us to misunderstand and think, oh, they're just out there to enjoy their senses. When they say, dear Krishna, please come to the bank of the Jamuna on the full moon night of the Sharat season, and we'll enjoy. They actually pray in this way to Krishna, our bodies long to be touched by you. And it can be easy for us to misunderstand because we do that sort of thing too. Yes, I want to be touched. I want to be pampered. I want to be spoiled. The gopis, they speak in this way. But as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and all of our acharyas make very clear, they have this mood of servitorship at their core. Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. Actually, that's at the core of all of us. Nitya Dasa. But how they serve looks like they're saying, please, Krishna, satisfy our senses. It looks like that, these gopis. And so we have to be very careful to try to understand by hearing with faith from the great devotees, from the acharyas. So, for Krishna to enjoy with his devotees in an intimate way, there must be some sense of sharing of opulences. Achintya bheda bheda tattva, Prabhupada saying in this purport. The master and servant are different, yet equal in opulence. So Krishna's dearest devotees in Vrindavan, they feel themselves equal in opulence. They are different, but they feel themselves equal in opulence. The cowherd boys, they say, let's wrestle. Or they'll play a game where one boy will hold another boy on their shoulders, and then the boys on the shoulders fight with each other. And the two boys below, they have to hold up the boys. Sometimes Krishna loses a wrestling match, and he's holding the boys, and they say, Krishna, now you have to hold me on your shoulders. And Krishna picks them up on their shoulders in this way. It's the Chintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. As Prabhupada saying, the master and servant are different yet equal in opulence. This is the meaning of simultaneous difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with him. It's truly extraordinary that the Lord enjoys in this way. Truly remarkable. So, what we're learning from this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is that this is the real opulence. We want wealth. We're thinking that we want some transitory dollars in this world. But the great devotees are aspiring for an opulence that puts them in the position of intimate service with Krishna. Not some fake money so that they can buy stuff for their senses in this world. Is that wealth? Is that opulence? I mean, what do these dollars even mean? They just print it whenever they like. Just discovered, actually. They don't really even need taxes. It's just like this made-up thing to keep us all in line. Because US dollars are just printed. They just make it whenever they need some more for something. So we're so desperate to get this fake money, to have some possessions, more than our body can even handle. But that's not what Prahlad is talking about here. By giving up all material desires, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Achintya bheda bheda tattva. So that master and servant are different and yet equal. That's how Krishna enjoys. When the devotees have such intimacy that they can serve Krishna in such a way that he feels that intimate love. So this is what Prahlad Maharaj is aspiring for. He doesn't want, I mean, he says quite explicitly that he doesn't want material things in this world, that he doesn't want to have sovereignty over the universe, even though the Lord gives it to him anyway. But achintya bheda bheda tattva, to be different yet equal in opulence, so that one can serve intimately in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna. This is the aspiration of all of us, I should hope. If you're still desiring material wealth, if you're still desiring fake dollars, please, the writing's on the wall that it's all meant for destruction, either today or tomorrow. Let us instead desire that wealth and opulence that puts us on an equal footing with the Lord, so that we can serve in devotion like the residents of Vrindavan. That is a great aspiration, and it is our opportunity, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. We might actually be able to acquire exactly that. So, Hare Krishna. In conclusion, Bhagavatvaya Bhagavat Saman Aishvaryaya. One can become as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Isn't that amazing? This is what Sridhar Swami is commenting. Bhagavatvaya Bhagavat Saman Aishvaryaya. Bhagavat Saman means equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the Vrindavan status. And all we have to do is give up material desire. Prahlad makes it very clear. So, let us take this opportunity by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing from the great devotees, so that we can come up to that status of devotional service. The Lord is waiting for us to conquer him with love. He actually wants it. He's waiting. While we're sitting around here playing with our monopoly money, desperate, desperate for some material scintillation. Still, the Lord is waiting for us to possess such love and devotion that he becomes conquered by it, that he desires to share all of his opulences, all of his wealth, and ultimately the supreme opulence of Goloka Vrindavan. He wants to share all of that so that we're on an equal footing to engage in loving service. That's achintya bheda bheda tattva. That's Srila Prabhupada saying in this purport. Hare Krishna. So, we'll finish. I guess I was kind of hoping that somehow His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami would pop up anyway and give this class. I apologize for being the sad substitute. But for those who stuck around to listen to a little Srimad Bhagavatam, I hope you are excited about doing some devotional service and conquering over Krishna. What is that? The verse that Brahma says? I'll finish with that. What does he say? You all know what I'm talking about. It's in 10th Canto, chapter 14. Oh my gosh. Where one conquers over Krishna. Gyane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobir ye prayasho ajita jitopya sitais trilokyam. Brahma is saying, you actually want to be conquered. By who? Just as Prahlad's saying here. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge, and with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Just spectacular. All right. Any questions or comments or feedback or praise or additions or subtractions or
I
multiplications or divisions?
have an interesting, as soon as I saw this, that translation, our living example is our Jagat Guru, I mean, he was a multi-millionaire,
Mm.
then, and multi-millionaire now. So Prabhupada, he gave up all those desires, but yet Krishna wanted to glorify and give him everything. And see that right in front of our face.
Yes, thank you, Kali Damanaprabhu. Such a perfect example, Prabhupada. He certainly had control over vast amounts of wealth while managing ISKCON's rapid expansion, and yet we see no evidence that he ever indulged in licentious sense gratification, like so many of his contemporaries, unfortunately. In fact, one woman who's coming to the Bhakti Yoga Center just said this to me. She said she watched that recent movie that was made, which had several titles. Actually, one of my friends that I brought along to Krishna Consciousness, she was the producer. Lauren Ross, also known as Radha Priya. Oh, she got initiated. I can't remember her name. But that movie that what's their names made? Hare Krishna. It's early in the morning. The movie, the Hare Krishna movie, the man, the mantra, and the movement, the mantra, and the man who started it all. Anyway, so this woman who's coming along to the Bhakti Yoga Center, she's saying, I watched this incredible film about Srila Prabhupada, and it's just amazing to see that he wasn't like so many of these other big gurus who were just indulging in so much sense gratification, and then some of them actually being arrested. She recognized that Prabhupada was so different, even though he had control over so much wealth, that still he was never an enjoyer of sense gratification, but just committed all of it to Krishna. So Prabhupada is such a perfect example of what Prahlad Maharaj is saying in this verse here. If you don't have material desires, then Krishna is able to give so much wealth and opulence. It's that simple. But he can give so much as when he sees that you're willing to engage in all of Krishna's service. So thank you, Kali Damana Prabhu, for that example. Any other comments or thoughts? If not, then I will hereby declare this Srimad Bhagavatam class finished. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully tomorrow we'll hear from Bhakti Marg Swami. It's really wonderful Vaishnava. For those of you, I don't know if maybe not everyone has met him, because he doesn't often come down this area, does he? But I had the good fortune of serving him a lot while I was in Canada, in Toronto, and serving his lunches to him, and he's so much fun to be around. Truly joyful in Krishna consciousness, and that's the sort of thing that a lot of us need. So let's take the opportunity to get his association, if the opportunity comes to us tomorrow. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nittai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
Haribo, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Shila Jaya Lita Vishaka, Lita Vishaka, Stina Jaya. Nitai Bodhisundar, Nitai Bodhisundar, Bodhisundar. Nitai Bodhisundar, Nitai Bodhisundar, Bodhisundar. Jai Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha. Hey Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Shri Radhe. Jai Radhe Radhe. Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe. Huh? Where's all the kids? They must be probably at play rehearsal. Nobody showed up. Even Maharaj, he's going to give class today. Will you do me a favor? When that opens up, will you hit the play? I have to use the facility real quickly. Thank you. Oh my God. Teacher, Jai. Nicely Prabhupada. Jai. Have a beautiful day, Ken.